Okay, ankle friends, here's my Theraband. And the basic, everybody should be doing this 3 times a week if you're in a Pointe shoe. Theraband exercises go like this. We have what's called dorsal flexion or up and down flexion, which is where you create resistance on your band. You let that flex your ankle all the way back. And then my notes say, push all the way down, including point the toes, and then return, down, and return, down and return. You can start with 15 if you haven't been doing these on each foot, but then you want to work up to 30, add 5 at a time. So if you do 15 for 3 times a week, then go to 20 the next week and do 23 times, and then do 25 the week after that, and so on. That's dorsiflexion. I also have in my notes to hold the pointed ankle. So here, my ankle is pointed, but my toes are not. I've uncovered my toes so that you can see them. But when you actually do this, you're gonna have your Theraband around the toes for resistance. So I point my ankle. See, my ankle's pointed, so it's not flexed, it's pointed. And then I have the toes flexed. I point the toes and I flex the toes. I point the toes, longing them, not curling them, lengthening them, and then I flex the toes out and in. And for added challenge, you can try putting them down like I can, one at a time, up. But also you can just do it as everybody all together. With your Theraband around your toes, you're then pushing the Theraband down with the toes, flexing, pointing, flexing, just in the toes. 15 of those, working up to 30. Make sure you do that on both feet. Then you're gonna do side to side flexion. We call this inner and outer flexion. So this is my left foot, this is my instep. I can create resistance coming away from the midline of my body, and then I can pull my ankle towards the midline of my body, otherwise known as pronation, in order to work the way that the ankle was meant to go mostly. The one, you're gonna have a lot of range of motion here, but what you're gonna wanna make sure that you're doing is staying on one level, not dipping down and then coming back up necessarily, because your ankle kind of wants to do that sometimes. We keep it level, like you're wiping your toes across mom's countertop, in and out, okay? Then I can create tension resistance the other way here. So now I'm pulling the Theraband toward the midline of my body, and my foot is gonna go away. There's way less range of motion here. I'm gonna pick you up for a second and put you right here. Oh, that's not how the iPhone works, Miss Stephanie. Can we see my foot here? We can. So there's not a lot of range of motion here when you're looking at the foot on top, but there is a little. Away and center, away and center. The other way, there's quite a lot. The way that you go when you turn your ankle, right? That way. So you already did that side. Now you're going away and center. There you go. Let's put you back on my foot there. Okay, so you can hold, you can just do what I'm doing and awkwardly lean over and pull on it, or you can tie this to something if you want, but make sure it's not something that you're gonna pull over on yourself, okay? Then you're gonna do circles. Again, wrap it around the ball of your foot and your toes. Pull the resistance band back towards you and do your big ankle circles, trying to get the biggest range of motion possible. You don't have to point your toes here. You can just leave them in a flexed Barbie foot as they come through. It's about the ankle, letting the ankle go through all. And then of course you're gonna do 15 circles the other way. And again, working up to 30, okay? Then, let me turn you this way. You're gonna put your legs in figure 4 here. And this is an ankle stretch. So you are putting your hand on the metatarsals of the foot. So not down here on the toes. You get a little stretch there, but not a lot. Here, and you're lengthening and pulling towards yourself here. Stretching, ideally, the whole front of the ankle and the front of the shin here. You can also, when you're done doing that, 30 seconds of that stretch, you can also thread your fingers through here and do a nice circle here. You've created space in all those metatarsals, so the circle might feel differently, okay? Then you're going to stretch the other one long and forward here. If this gives you any knee pain at all, it is possible that you have tightness in your calves. And the next thing on the list, I believe, is to stretch your calves. So you stretch your calves. Then you can stretch your calves. Let's see if I can keep my feet right here in the frame here. You can stretch your calves. You can do both in plie. My calves are always so tight that this is very nice, a very nice stretch for me here. You can also step forward in a long lunge and stretch just one calf at a time. But if you do that, make sure that you do the secondary one where you bring the foot closer to under the hip and plie back into it more, because that gets your soleus, which is the calf muscle that attaches below the knee. If you only ever do this calf muscle, this calf stretch where your back knee is long, you're only getting the gastrocnemius calf, and that could be the answer to why you still feel really tight. So you stretch both calves. Then my work says, come to a bar, and I think I'm in parallel, so I'm gonna face you so you can see just how my feet move here. I want you to plie releve down and up at the bar. And I want you to watch very carefully the movement of my feet through releve, watching carefully forward. Now I'm gonna imitate what I'm seeing a little bit. See that little wobble? See that little go around right here when you releve up? Right there, around. Now, none of you are actually stopping out here. You're just visiting that on the way up and then straightening it out and getting your weight at the ball of your foot. So the pathway is important. When you're here in your releve, the weight still has to be, whoops, see, I just lost my balance. The weight still has to be in the balls of the feet and up. After you do 15 releves, then I want you to come to force starch. So now I'm gonna turn back this way so you can see me. Force starch, which in the feet should be 3/4 points. So you should be as far over as you are in 3/4 point. And then I want you to practice straightening up really, really long here through the front of the shin and the front of the knee. And then just return to 3/4 point force starch. Straighten up. Whoop, I just knocked myself off, but ideally you're not gonna do that. You're gonna do 15 like that, where you plie, and then you straighten, lift, 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 lift. The idea here is that if your 3/4 point is right here, and that's the height of your heel, that will not change when you straighten both knees. So we're gonna do 15 of those. I think that's everything. Thanks for joining me. Bye, Z's.